Welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. And today's topic, multiple Nigerians, stowaways, were thrown overboard in the Atlantic Ocean, trying to flee. What's this? Joppa. For the people who know, they know. For the people who don't know, they were trying to flee. No pan Nigerian love activated. Yes, yes. It was almost like the ghost of the transatlantic slave trade when I was reading this article. When they threw 4 Nigerians aboard ship that were stowaways, like they were just trash. Before I get to that, see, the thing about it is there is, again, not some pan-Nigerian love. No such thing as that. And numbers of Nigerians know what is being relayed over is very true on that. The thing what I said, Joppa, Japa. See, these are the kind of things that especially certain ones from certain parts of Nigeria, especially certain ones within America, who know they are, not to my numbers of good ones, say they don't like when reality is relayed over. The term Joppa in Nigeria, it says a colloquial term derived from the Yoruba language, meaning to run away or to flee. It's become synonymous with the trend of numbers of Nigerians, especially the young ones, leaving the country in search of better opportunities, often due to economic hardship, insecurity, or a desire for a better quality of life. This phenomenon is sometimes referred to as the Japa, Japa syndrome. Yes. Now, some be like, wait a minute now, but it's got to be some kind of pan-Nigerian love activated. No activation. What do you mean by that? I mean, just a little bit of activation. What do you mean? No. We're not going to do activation. No. We're not going to do that. We're going to stick to some reality. Look at this picture. Right? They fled from the hardships of whichever part of their area of Nigeria that they had to run from. So it is the audacity as certain numbers of Nigerians, the one this applies to, who flee to America. I'm not talking about very small amount of some who, like, you know what, they come over to America or they go over to some parts of Europe and they don't sit down and try to talk craziness, but there ain't no comparison to certain numbers of Nigerians that talk crazy to numbers of Black Americans, like they just came, like Black Americans that just showed up in America. For without numbers of Black Americans, there are numbers of Nigerians wouldn't even be allowed in the country of America. And again, I'm not talking about numbers of the good Nigerians. They know who they are. And they also know that they are a small number in comparison to the coons and sellouts of various numbers of Nigerians who flee from Nigeria because they know they cannot fix number of various person in Nigeria. So you see the audacity. So let me go ahead and read this particular story. The story goes, one moment here. The story goes is that 4 Nigerian stowaways were rescued on the Atlantic Ocean after being thrown overboard by the crew of a foreign vessel. The young men, the young Nigerian men, seeking to escape Nigeria's economic challenges. Let me repeat that. The crew of the vessel, let me back. The young Nigerian men seeking to escape Nigeria's economic challenges had boarded the ship in secret with the hopes of reaching foreign shores. The crew of the vessel, upon discovering the stowaways, the Nigerian stowaways, allegedly responded with violence, casting these Nigerian men into the open sea. Say what again? The crew of the vessel, upon discovering the stowaways, allegedly responded with violence, casting these Nigerian men into the open sea. The situation could have ended tragically were it not for the swift intervention of a maritime logistics company owned by this particular company out of France, France-based, should we say. I'm going to all that. It talks about how the crew, led by the captain, detected suspicious movement in the waters and quickly raised the alarm. Acting on their report, this particular captain ordered an immediate emergency operation, which led to the rescue of these 4 Nigerian victims, Joppa personnel. They said the statement read, all 4 Nigerian victims were found alive but clearly traumatized. They are now in stable condition and receiving proper care. Their survival is nothing short of a miracle. They were clinging to the debris, weak and barely able to call for help. We acted quickly, another few minutes, and they might not have made it. Yes, it was almost there. So you see the audacity that there are certain numbers of Nigerians, the ones applies to, that have the audacity to talk crazy and be in America, for which Black Americans were the top main Black culture, top culture, besides certain ones within the Panamese culture who helped build America, not people from Nigeria. And you look at the percentage of Nigerians in America, you would laugh. They make up less than 1%. So you see, it is the audacity-ness, right? That there are certain coons and sellout numbers of Nigerians, the ones that this applies to, that are in America, the ones it applies to, that have the nerve to sit there and try to talk crazy when they have no power to sit there and fix problems like these particular Joppa Nigerian members that had to flee to try to get away from economic challenges and poverty and Harvard corruption, to try to get away from different places. So it's like, where are those same type of Nigerian sellouts and coons, the ones it applies to in various parts of America, who have the nerve to try to look down upon Black Americans, how many couldn't even hold the socks of Black Americans? The nerves. But they already know there's not enough Black Americans to check them left and right, right? One last thing I want to sit there and show you, because it's unfunny how when you start relaying some realities, right? Because here, I'll make sure you can see that. This is a map, map right here, is of Nigeria and various cities and things like that, and many of these various tribes in Nigeria. Black Americans only have one monolithic, unique culture in America. That is Black American. Talking about lineage based, not some latecomer, not somebody can slide in playing black card and, oh, well, what about you? Ain't no Black American lineage based to the 1800s. go to Haiti, the one who try to play that game. Oh, they know who they are. But it's unfunny how you have certain numbers of Nigerians that'll sit there and play black when they want to put the black on, and then when heat puts upon them, heat is put upon black Americans, then numbers of Nigerians are like, oh, whoa, 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 I'm Nigerian. Oh, they know who they are. Oh, they know who they are. See, they know they won't talk about the tribalism, corruption, and wars going on in various parts of Nigeria, right? Oh, it don't take but infant research to see that. But they know numbers of black Americans are not going to sit there and look upon various things in Nigeria and see what reality is going on. Again, I'm not talking about numbers of good Nigerians. So we're not going to play that game, right? Because you have some people, I don't want to go into all that. So you see already these many types of tribes in Nigeria, in these various cities in Nigeria, right? Not one, not two, not three, not 10, not 15, not 20, not 25, not 30. Hundreds of tribes in Nigeria, right? And how many have their own major tribalism problems? But numbers of the person who know that when they flee to America, the one it's obliged to, right? Then they want to pretend there's no such thing as tribalism problems because they know it's not enough black Americans who know their games, right? And call that, it's like, hey, fix your own type of things going on in Nigeria. Fix your own tribalism problems, right? You educated. So the hell what? You got numbers of people from Nigeria that's educated. So the hell what? That means nothing. Go back there and fix the problem that's going on over there. Since that person's so damn smart, right? Of course not. Because they know they would even have even slightly an opportunity as they would have in Nigeria compared to being in America overall. And they slide under the black banner, right? They know who they are without ever having to go through the heat of black pain. And it's an insult that not enough American blacks don't call them out on that. Because you best believe American blacks can't run over there and cannot flee to Nigeria. Say, oh, they're tired of dealing with black pain in America. They're going to go to Nigeria. Because how many Nigerians, well, the time frame of a few hundred years ago of certain ones in Nigeria that sit there and put slaves, also like with some other people in certain parts of Africa, who sit there and sold out various other Africans, right? And so certain numbers of American blacks who became the American blacks could easily be like, hey, reparations too need to be happening. So there are certain numbers of Nigerians, certain places, certain people who know they are lucky that black Americans are saying, no, we're not going to let that slide. You got to get some reparations, right? In some kind of way. I thank you for tuning in. Oh, by the way, let me play one particular other video. See, when this particular person, when he was talking, hold on, let me get that out of the way. Hold on, give me a second. When he was sitting there, which wasn't a long time ago, by the way, I'm going to show you something from the guy who was a governor and one time a senator in South Carolina. He wasn't talking about Nigerians when he was talking like this, because at this time frame, which is still less than 100 years ago, there wasn't even a piece of conversation about Nigerians then like that.
Delegates who walked out of the Democratic convention formed their own party.
The Southern revolt against President Truman reaches its climax at Birmingham under the states' rights banner.
The so-called Dixiecrats nominated the South Carolina Governor Strom Thurmond as their presidential candidate.
There's not enough troops in the army to force the Southern people to break down segregation and admit the Negro race in the army. To force the
as their presidential candidate.
There's not enough troops in the army to force the Southern people to break down segregation and admit the Negro race into our theaters, into our swimming pools, into our homes, and into our churches. In the army.
Candidate.
There's not enough troops in the army to force the Southern people
So he was not talking about numbers of Nigerians who in those 40s wouldn't even be even thought about like that. Because even in the 80s, there was only a few 100,000 Nigerians in America. And even 2025, Nigerian population still makes up less than 1% of the population in America. So there are numbers of Nigerians. I'm not talking about the numbers of good ones, which is going to be very small, because this system allows a very small percentage to, get through the cracks. They allow more coons and sellouts who have some nerves to try to talk down upon American blacks. And many could even get hold of socks of Black Americans, the history, the economics, the culture of true Black Americanism over centuries. Please. So there are numbers of not good Nigerians who are lucky that there is not enough Black Americans who are not sitting there, not tolerating their bull, the ones it applies to. Numbers of good Nigerians keep doing their thing. But for the other ones who know there are the sellouts and the coons, oh, they're lucky that Black Americans collectively are not calling that bull crowd little sleight of hand playing black when numbers of ones want to play black, right? You get the benefit and getting in certain types of political positions, right? Or being benefit off of automatic citizenship based upon the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, that not because they Nigerians first, but because of Black Americans had to fight and lose lives and get hung. And numbers of women getting robbed, and some males got robbed too, to my RAPE. And again, how many numbers of Black men, Black women got hung left and right, having a fight to be treated as citizens. When even the 14th Amendment Constitution, even that's supposed to allow basically Black folks to be citizens, and still couldn't even vote like that across the board, because that was the 15th Amendment Constitution. So numbers of Nigerians, the ones applies to, the sellouts and coons, are very lucky that again, it's not enough Black Americans who know the power of history and would checkmate numbers of Nigerian coons and sellouts, the ones applies to. Because you start bringing the word JAPA, J-A-P-A, all numbers of Nigerians who know who they are, the bad ones I'm talking about, they know that they've been read through. They've been read through the game. They're nonsense. Talking about the bad ones. I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show.